Alrighty, fanboys and fangirls, the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV event was over. The phone is out, everybody's talking about it, and as you know, I've been covering this phone since the beginning of the rumors, so it's time for me to give my recap and reaction. And I've never used this terminology with any Android phone, but this is the closest we're going to get to perfection. What I mean by that is this is the closest to an untapped potential from any Android that we have ever seen. Now, before you go ranting about it in the comments, let me discuss more about it. And even though Sony did address a lot of the complaints and a lot of the issues I brought to light in my videos, they still got some issues they haven't addressed and it may not get addressed. So let's talk all about it in today's recap. So the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV came out alongside the Xperia 10 IV, I believe. There's some people saying that that's also out there. Me, I focus solely on the Xperia 1 Mark IV. I'll focus on the other phones later. But taking a look at this phone, going into this event, we've already known from the start that this is not a phone for everybody. This is a very niche market for those that want the best of the best of the best, because it's priced in that ballpark, it's positioned in that ballpark. And honestly speaking, I don't think we're ever gonna see a price reduction, but the amount of technology that is in this phone leads me to say what I'm about to say. Now, taking a look at the phone itself, it is pretty much what we've already seen. We've seen a lot of this already, but it does bring a few new additions that I don't think even we can fathom. For starters, the camera technology got the hugest increase of everything here. It is the world's first, I believe, OIS, like operating, something along those taglines of marketing, but it's incredible. And to all those people, Sony fans, Samsung fans, Google fans, before you go rat-a-tat-tatting in the comment section, just remember two things. Number one, Sony supplies those lenses for your phone. And number two, what they do with their own lenses, they can do whatever they want because they're the manufacturers and they basically maxed it out. They put in the best of the best. And I'm going out on a limb here because we don't know exactly how it's going to perform in day-to-day use, and also the phone comes out in September. But I'm going to tell you guys, if this phone lives up to the build and to the hype that Sony's putting on it, this just might be the greatest camera setup in a smartphone for 2022. It depends on the real-world experience. We'll have to wait and see on that, obviously. But that's number one. But now let's talk about the complaints that I brought up. They did address several of them. The first one was the 5G certification. Now, if you guys watch my videos, you know that was my biggest critique because I had emphasized that by getting the certifications for millimeter wave and sub-6, you will not only be able to partner with carriers in the future, but you also will be able to expand the phone to more customers. And that is exactly what they did because they have now certified millimeter wave and sub-6. That means, and this is again, according to Sony's website, it will now work with all major carriers, including 5G's ultra wideband provided by Verizon, T-Mobile's 5G ultra connection or something along that tagline that they're using, and then of course whatever AT&T is doing. Now this is a huge positive because now the phone is fully able to work with all consumers in the United States. So that's a huge positive. That means more chances of people picking up this phone. Now we'll get to the carrier thing in just a second, but the next thing that they addressed was of course also availability. For this time, it will be available nationwide and more than select Sony retailers. That means you could probably go to Best Buy, you might be able to go to some carrier stores, and you might actually see this phone. So they are working to make this phone more available and making it spread out. So again, huge positives. On top of that, they've also enabled reverse wireless charging because they had wireless charging already. They've also enabled a bigger battery life. They've kept the headphone jack. They've got the best OLED display in a camera. So everything here is positive. But with all the positives aside, we still have to address some of the negatives. And the biggest negative to me is it still is shipping with only 2 years of OS upgrades. To all of those people, and what I'm about to say is going to be along the negative lines, but to all the people that have watched my videos and have commented, oh, you don't need 2 years of software support, or oh, you're just a Sony fan or a Samsung fan, or oh, why are you even saying it if you don't own it? Listen, at the end of the day, what my job comes down to is I do the research, I back check, I fact check, and I make sure that what I'm telling you is not an opinion, it is facts. And at the end of the day, everything that I say will either piss you off or you'll agree. And for those of you that have a tendency to disagree, I got no problem if you disagree with what I'm about to say. But the last thing I need to hear is, oh, you're a Samsung fanboy when I own an iPhone. The last thing I need to worry about is, oh, it'll be just fine. No. We need to address these issues to bring them to light in order for Sony to find reasons to fix them and also to give you guys more insight. So at the end of the day, I'm not here to please you. I'm here to give the facts. I'm here to do my job as a tech YouTuber and bring these issues to light, because otherwise, how are companies gonna grow? I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there, and I got no problem if you disagree with what I'm about to say. But number one, the software support sucks. I don't think paying $1,700 with tax included, it's $1,600 plus then the tax equals $1,700. You're almost dropping $2,000. That's the same price as a Galaxy Fold. For that price point, the software support should be at minimum 3 years, not 2. I have no idea why Sony is opting for 2 OS upgrades and then a 3rd year. You're paying $1,700. You should be getting the best of the best software support that that phone can handle. And for those of you that come and say, but wait a minute, it makes the phone worse. Listen, there's 2 factors that go into that. Battery support, because the battery degrades to hold that support. And number 2, there are added features that make the phone last longer. Why do you think camera technology gets better every time software gets integrated? Why do you think companies like Google can manage to optimize their camera system with software? Because software fixes the job. And Sony opting for 2 years is, to me, that's criminal. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. That is criminal above criminal. That's number 1. Number 2, they still did not do any partnerships with any major carriers. Even though they did announce that it will be more widely available than just Sony retailers, they still have not made a partnership with any of the major carriers. And this is a negative, because say you want to buy this phone, you have to go either 2 ways. You're gonna have to pay the lump sum, or you'll have to go to Best Buy, apply for a Best Buy credit card, and then get monthly financing. At least if you partner with a carrier, you can get the phone pushed out, you get more sales, but you give consumers more flexibility by doing 24 months billing, 36 month billing. Getting more consumers to buy this phone at a monthly payment is probably your best resource, but Sony still didn't capitalize on that. And number 3, the biggest issue, the most problem that I have with this phone, and the reason that I think Sony really needs to address it, and this is just a niche, this isn't a main one, but this is just for me. I think my biggest problem is that for the price, even though it can do everything and better, I still can find arguments for people to go to a Samsung phone or a Google phone. That's the biggest issue. Even though it is the most capable Android and it's the closest to perfect that you will ever get for performance, for content creation, for videos, for photos. There was even some dude that said, oh, you don't need RAM for content creation. Come on now, everybody knows you need RAM to help make it even better. But that's not the point. The point is, it's still a hard sell. Now, I could argue and say that it is probably a better buy, but with the lack of software support for only 2 years, the lack of availability with the carriers pushing 24-month billing, and also making it more flexible for users to pay in, because I'm not going to trash the price. We already know that that's what it's going to be. We can't argue about that. That's just what it is. I just wish that Sony would do the partnership with the carriers, T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon in the United States. I wish that they would have upgraded the OS. I'm praying that they do that because they still have till September. I'm hoping it gets to 3. If it gets to 3, then I think we can make the argument that that's actually better. And lastly, I think the last thing they need to address also is, again, trying to convince somebody to pay that premium. You need to convince somebody that wants to pay the full $1,700 or $1,600 for this phone. You need to convince them that that is a better buy than the Samsung and Google. And not just because of your marketing and hardware, blah, blah, blah. You need to tell the general consumer, that person in the niche market, that for the same amount of money, you can do better and better and better versus better and better and better. That's the bottom line. But everything after that, after my criticisms aside, I still think that this is the closest to perfection that we will see an Android capable of. The amount of technology, the amount of hardware, software integration by Sony, the camera technology, the display, the headphone jack, everything in this phone. I didn't even talk about the studio grade microphones that they were even touting. There is so much positives in here, but I still see the issues that they didn't address, but they did address a lot of them. So let this be a lesson to anybody that wants to go, oh, but it's fine, it's fine. This is why you present the issues, so the company hears feedback so they can grow. Let that be a lesson. Stop being a sheep. Be better than that. But But anyway, guys, that is the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV. I do think it is the closest to perfect because it's so capable and it has the best that Android can offer. But they still have to address those issues, and I'm really hoping they get the partnerships. I'm really hoping they up the software experience, and honestly, I really hope that they really go in on the marketing, because if they have a strong marketing campaign, this phone's gonna do well. So let me hear your thoughts down below, guys. Do you enjoy this video? If you did, hit the like button, and of course, there are gonna be the dislikers, so you better hit that dislike button because it helps circulate my videos anyway. Let me hear your thoughts down below about the Xperia 1 Mark IV. As always, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next episode. Have a great rest of your day, guys. Take care, stay safe, have a good day, and peace.